Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news of a huge Chinese debt distortion that is worrying policymakers. But first, American consumer sentiment is a little lower in June, but not because of their own individual situation. According to a survey out over the weekend, they rated their current financial situation at the best levels since the 2007 cyclical peak, largely due to wage gains. Prospects for gains in inflation-adjusted incomes in the year ahead were also at their most favourable level since 2007, because pay is rising at 2.5% at a time of low inflation. But they seem to be losing a little confidence in the future. Most now do not think the American economy is as strong as it was last year, nor do they anticipate the economy will enjoy the same financial health in the year ahead as they anticipated a year ago. In fact, lower corporate profitability raised the American federal government's deficit in May. But the shift is minor and won't really change the 2.8% of GDP level it's currently running at, a level easily accommodated. In China, shifts there are not minor. The IMF has issued a stark warning about the risks of their corporate debt. The IMF wants to see immediate steps to tackle rising corporate debt, or there is a worrying risk of dangerous detours during the country's transition to a consumption-oriented economy. Others have pointed out that as much as $1.3 trillion in loans extended to borrowers don't have sufficient income to cover interest payments. China's accumulated debt faster than any country over the past decade, climbing to almost 2.5 times their annual GDP. But that debt binge is helping many Chinese feel better about their economy and their own prospects. And it is helping many Australian mining companies feel better about immediate prospects too. Today is a public holiday in Australia. And locally, we're expecting the REINZ house price data for May to be released sometime today. But later in the week, there'll be some important economic data released too. There is another dairy auction, New Zealand's first quarter balance of payments data is followed by the first quarter GDP result, and on Thursday, Janet Yellen and the US Fed will be reviewing their policy rate. In New York, the benchmark US Treasury 10-year yield fell again on Friday and is now down to 1.64%. The oil price is little changed. The US benchmark is marginally lower, now just over $49 a barrel, and the Brent benchmark is just over $50 a barrel. The gold price is marginally higher at $1,273 an ounce. And finally, the New Zealand dollar starts today a little lower at 70.6 US cents, 95.6 Aussie cents, and at 60.7 euro cents. The TWI is now at 74.2. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.